Hello, everybody out there. I am Peg Fitzpatrick, and I am here today to talk to you about Pinterest, one of my very, very, very favorite things. If you don't know me, I love Pinterest. I love talking about Pinterest, and I've invited my good friend Jeff C. here with me of Manly Pinterest Tip Show. We're not going to do a whole big intro about who we are and what we do because we have amazing bios all over the place. Please click on them, find out what we do, and learn more about us, because what we really want to do is share some super awesome information with you about how to use Pinterest for marketing. Jeff, what do you think about Pinterest and marketing? Do you think it's a good idea?
I do, Megan. You know that. In fact, we were talking in the green room that, man, I really think that we need to, more marketers need to use it just because it's such a powerful platform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so we are going to share some really deep down and dirty Pinterest tips in this, and this is a web redemption. I should mention that at the beginning. I did this webinar with Kim Garst earlier in the week, and the tech issues were horrible. So all I thought was we need to bring it to Google Plus so it can go on YouTube. Even though there's glitches here occasionally, it's so reliable and so good. So we brought our own little TV studio into our own houses, like Jeff likes to do every week, and I do every once in a while. So we're taking the power of the internet and doing a web redemption to bring to you simple steps to market Pinterest for profits today. So I'm going to dig right into this presentation, and Jeff will be also sharing information. We're going to kind of just bounce back and forth a little bit and talk about things. So here we go with simple steps to market Pinterest for profit. Before we get started, one of the things I just want to say about all social media is that you are never 100% promoting yourself and expecting a return that second on social media. Social media does not work like that. So there's not going to be this quick, do this one thing and money's going to, be thrown at your computer. That doesn't happen in this world. It doesn't happen with sales, and it doesn't happen with social media marketing for sales. So what we're going to tell you is tips and tricks to work on Pinterest, and it's a long-term, things will happen immediately, but it's a long-term, like slow burn. It's like making chili when you cook it all day on the stove.
That's right.
Right, Jeff?
That's right. I love chili.
Chili. Okay, so why should you market on Pinterest? Pinterest is a search engine, essentially. It's turning out to be a little bit more like Google than we had imagined originally. People thought that Pinterest was just for pinning recipes and pretty things, which it is, but they've secretly been building an amazing search engine that is about discovering the things that you're passionate about. So what's happened is that over time, people are spending more time on Pinterest than they are on Facebook, which is pretty amazing because people spend a lot of time on Facebook. You should market on Pinterest because the traffic is long-term. Long-term traffic is the goal. You don't want to if you tweet things, your tweet is gone in about 20 minutes. Nobody's going to see that again unless they happen to go to your Twitter profile and scroll back down through things, which happens occasionally, but you can't count on that for marketing. So what happens on Pinterest is you pin something today, people may repin it today, but with your great keywords in your descriptions, people will find that months and months from now. Jeff, do you have any old pins that get a lot of Pinterest traffic?
Yeah, I have one actually on repurposing content that does really, really well, and it keeps surfacing. And I pinned that, probably when I first got started on Pinterest. There's some reasons I think that's happening, and we'll talk about that, when we talk about the best way to make a pin. But yeah, it keeps driving traffic to my website. It's amazing.
It is amazing. I had an interesting thing I checked last night because I just redid my website, so I wasn't actively posting for a while, and I just was still pinning, still doing social media, and my blog traffic hardly dropped at all. And it was Pinterest is my #1 traffic referral. It continued to bring traffic to my blog even when I wasn't actively posting. I actually didn't check during that time because I didn't want to freak out about it and be like, no, but Pinterest kept it going, which is pretty amazing. Also, there's a small effort for a big return on Pinterest. I feel that the time that you put into Pinterest is so much less than you do on other social networks. But again, it brings you this long-term traffic. So, we have to look where you can spend your marketing dollars in the best way. Something that's going to give you long-term benefits is definitely the way to go. So, moving to our next slide. Okay, there we go. Can you see that whole thing? It
Yep.
looks weird for me. Okay, so 75% of people use Pinterest on their smartphones. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. And I think the statistics are seriously changing over how many people are using computers at all. A lot of people are moving to tablets and phones only. So is your marketing plan mobile right now? That's a good question for people in business to think about. Do you have time to do everything on mobile? No, but you could use Pinterest and create great stuff that's going to look good on your mobile phone, your tablet, and your computer. So it kind of kills all the birds with one stone, which to me is, again, the best way to use your marketing dollars is when you're using things for more, you're repurposing it. So if you can go on Pinterest and you can create, here's this example is a post that Kim Garst did. This is a blog post that she wrote, and she also has other products that she sells webinars and other things. She creates one pin for it. It lets people see who she is, what she does. It has her app mention. It has her blog name on there. It has all the elements where if somebody shares this, they can learn who Kim is. They can click to find more. This is what the pre-shopping stage, before people are actually buying something. You're just getting yourself out there. And where you want to be is on people's smartphones. So a great way to do that is to create great pins like this one. So Pinterest on the go. I love Pinterest on my phone. Do you use it on mobile, Jeff?
Yeah, in fact, that's what I use it mostly on, and it's really exciting because I just got the new iPhone 6 Plus,
Oh
and
God, it
yeah,
is so big. Let's see it.
yeah. Well, Pinterest, it's right here.
Of course it is.
Uh, Pinterest is great on it as well as Instagram and other stuff. So,
Right.
and I just wanted to highlight some stuff really quick while you're talking on the slide
Yep.
about mobile. Is if you look at this example by Kim Garst, look at her title, and you can see everything really clear on a small mobile device. And I think that's one of the things that people kind of need to think about, because 75% that's a huge number, and it's growing, I believe, every month. And
Yeah.
so really optimize those pins to look good on mobile devices. And so test it. Look on your phone. Look how that blog post that you're trying to promote on Pinterest looks on that mobile device.
Great tip. It's always good to test your stuff. Okay, so Pinterest on the go, easy to use, anytime, anywhere. That's where you are on your phone. Why do people pin? Why are people on Pinterest? That's one of the things as a marketer that you need to make sure that you know why you're marketing. So why are people on Pinterest? They go to be inspired. They look for ideas. They're looking, yes, for recipes. They're looking for holiday decorations. They're also bookmarking. I use Pinterest for bookmarking almost more than, well, I use it for inspiration the most, but for bookmarking, I create resource boards. That's to me, like, I don't think I could live without Pinterest at this point. I have so many resources on there. I've created boards. I've created like things that I just like to keep together, and when I need it, it's my digital filing cabinet. We've really gone to this digital world where you need to be able to find things quickly. If I'm live on a Twitter chat and someone says, Peggy, do you have any tips on Pinterest that I could look through because I love this topic, that I want more, I have Pinterest boards that are specifically set up as resources that I can share. And that is so helpful for people. They don't have to keep asking you questions, but you're giving them so much information. And I've carefully curated it. So it's really relevant, interesting, and I pin things that I love. And one of the things with marketing is I do things that I love because I assume that somebody else might love it too. So and then the other way is that people are promoting their brand or their blog or their company. So that's people like Target. That's people like Jeff with his Manly Pinterest show. There's all different things that you can share on Pinterest. I share my blog, and I haven't had any products, but soon I'll have a book out, and I will be promoting my book on Pinterest because people love to get ideas. So the sweet spot for social selling on Pinterest is that middle ground where you are inspiring people, you're you're putting great things that you're bookmarking that are going to help promote whatever you're doing, and that's when people are going to click and buy. Anything to add there, Jeff?
Well, I was just going to say, you know, and you taught me this a long time ago when I first started, and it kind of goes into the inspiration thing, not just to share your, you know, business stuff all the time. There's that balance because people want to know you, and because people do know you, they're going to want to buy your book because they have that relationship. They feel like, you know, I've followed Peg for a long time. She gives great advice. She's fun. She's going to give me some good inspiration. So I think I might buy her book. So I think, you know, being well-rounded on Pinterest is very key in this kind of circle that we're talking about.
I think it definitely is. You, with all social media, you definitely don't want to just share your own content. But an interesting thing about Pinterest is that people do get to see different layers of you, and that's where you create different boards for different themes and different things. And people can follow just one board. So if they're only interested in your manly Pinterest tips, they can follow that. Jeff and I share a bacon board. So if you love bacon, you can follow our bacon board. That's just like a fun thing because people like bacon, including Jeff and I. We like bacon. So, you know, you can have fun and share. You know, our stuff is professional. We're on brand because it's things that we like. You know, my brand is things that I like. It's social media, it's marketing, it's books, and it's also just, you know, things I like, which are sometimes bacon and cupcakes, because, you know, you just don't talk about social media all the time. So one great thing is that Pinterest motivates people to buy. 47% of U.S. shoppers have made a purchase from a Pinterest referral. That's a very large number of people. I don't think the same can be said about a Google Plus post, a Facebook post, or a Twitter tweet. People trust people on Pinterest. You know, you do get to know people and you see their content and you like it. Again, pinners buy. Pinterest generates 400% more revenue per click than Twitter, which is crazy. It's 27% more than Facebook. That's a really evolving number because more brands are on Pinterest now doing great stuff, so more people are seeing things to click and buy. As brands are evolving themselves, like Target last holiday season had fantastic Pinterest campaigns. They had them online, and then they had it in the store with little signs that said, you know, hot on Pinterest, popular on Pinterest. It was amazing. It was like, I actually went on Pinterest and checked the pins. I was the first store I had seen that had brought their Pinterest into the store. You know, they brought it right in the store. They've now hired people from Pinterest to create lines of products. Joy Cho has her party products, and they had Poppy, I can't remember her whole name. I think it's Poppy Talks, and they've had a couple people that they've hired that are pinners that now create products for Target. So if you think there's no money in social media, there you go, because I'm fairly certain those people just made millions of dollars. Target
Right.
made millions, but they did too.
One more thing, Peg, on that is that both men and women on Pinterest have more money to spend. I mean, they actually have a more per capita, you know, they have just more money. And so that's a great target market of these people who are on Pinterest want to spend money. And so that's huge for marketers.
Yeah, one great thing that I learned in your hangout yesterday for Manly Pinterest tips was that there are single men on Pinterest who have lots of money and they're buying, and I was like, what? There's single men on Pinterest? I'm waiting for the first people that meet and get married from Pinterest. It could happen. But yes, that is the demographics for Pinterest are more educated people who make more money, which is really, really interesting. This is a general Pinterest plan of things that you should create in your marketing plan, what you should pin. Not just your blog content, but also videos are amazing. You can watch the whole video on Pinterest. SlideShare presentations, you can do the whole SlideShare. People don't have to leave Pinterest to do these things, so they love it. So they can click it, watch the video, and there you go. Infographics, of course, are very popular, and GIFs are fun. I don't know what it is about a GIF, but you cannot stop watching them. They're crazy. So, Jeff, do you want to cover the elements of great pin? I put the basics, but you can add.
Well, the image size, you know, that's the size I use all the time, and I pretty much don't vary from that unless I do like a cross promotion that I'm doing on Instagram and use the same widths, the 735
Yeah.
as a square image and put it on there. That works well too. But yeah, no borders. They don't like that. You want to have minimal text, but like we talked about before, you want to have it big enough that you can, like if you are pinning a blog article, that you do see that title very well, and it's easy to read on not just iPads but also mobile devices, because a lot of people use those iPhones and Android devices to look at stuff. And a great description. Descriptions are becoming more and more important, and we talked about that a little bit yesterday on the Manly Pinterest Tip show with this new smart feed, which is kind of now Pinterest is really, and you talked about it before, moving into a discovery engine. And so these descriptions are really important, and there's some testing going on with different links of the description because you want to make it show up in mobile as well on the desktop feed. So those are kind of the elements of the great pin. But of course, image is everything. That's what Pinterest is built on. So you've got to start with a great image.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the sweet spot falls for the text. We should do some tests on that, Jeff. I did that with Google Plus when I was trying to figure out like how I want to set my post up. I do a bold title and then I do a subtitle, and it all fits right. When you see the notification for it, all my text fits right in there. So we'll have to play around and see what that great little thing is. So on mobile, for 75% of the people on Pinterest, you love those people to see the most important content of your text. Jeff, let's talk a little bit before we move on there about keywords and where you don't want to use hashtags on Pinterest. They do not work. They really are not fans of hashtags. But what you want to do is think about using keywords in your descriptions, in your pin, in your board title, and anywhere where you're sharing stuff. You want to make sure that it has the essential keywords that you would want people to find it when you're not there pinning it, but when they're doing guided search.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is just don't excuse me, put the title, but you put make it natural. You don't want to keyword stuff and make it look funky.
Of course not.
Yeah, but take the time to it's almost like as important as writing your title to a blog. You craft that and you do that. The same thing with description, because people are really reading those. Pinterest is using those for their, like we talked about, their discovery feature. But so anyway, it's really important, the description.
Yep, and no keyword stuffing, because that's just lame. Okay, so trust drives action. 81% of women trust Pinterest as a source for information and advice. That is where being consistent and showing up all the time and talking about your main topics help you as a brand or someone who's promoting on Pinterest, because you build trust over time. If your main topic is, let's pick up something random. If you're, let's just say you're an author and you write,
Can you make sure that you are white box down below so people can see your screen? We had a comment about that.
Okay, there, got it?
Got it.
Okay, so so trust drives action. So if you are, for example, a mystery writer and you are on Pinterest, you want to share things that are about mystery writing. You could share other people's books on it. You could share stuff about your characters. But what you want to do is build up over time the trust with the people who follow you, that you're going to be consistent and share things that are important. So whether you're there or not, people get the idea of who you are and they learn to trust you and your content, which Jeff kind of mentioned that already too. So let's look a little bit at the Pinterest sales funnel. Pinterest is, like all social media, as we mentioned already, it's not a platform where you're going to see like immediate dollars. People are not going to click and buy the second they see things. So where the top of the funnel for Pinterest marketing is awareness. Somebody might see something that someone else has pinned, and they might pin that. So then that person is sharing that with their audience. That's where they trust it. They trust the pin. There's certain people that on Pinterest, no matter what they pin, it's good. So these are the go-to people that you're going to go share from all the time. I'm sure everybody has 5 to 10 people who they always look up on Pinterest. I know I do. I'm sure Jeff does. In the awareness stage, you're seeing things that other people pinned, and you're thinking, oh, that's interesting. On Pinterest, if I like it, I tend to always repin it because it could get lost and you may never find it again. And I think a lot of people feel that way because it's, you may not find the same exact thing the next time you go. So when I do see something I like, I will check it, I will repin it. That's going to take you to the middle of your marketing funnel, which is consideration, where people are thinking about you in more detail. They may click through to your blog. They may sign up for your email newsletter. They may, this is where you can create some gated material where you're going to get people's email address. For example, if you have a webinar, not a Google Hangout, because this, it all goes through Google and you don't get information. But if you go through a webinar, you can do an email sign up in order for people to do that. So when you do a webinar or you sell an ebook or give away an ebook, for example, is another thing that people like to do for content. HubSpot is great at creating amazing ebooks, and what they do is they just ask for your name and your contact information in exchange for their great content. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to build your email list. So what you need to do, though, is to get people from that middle section to the bottom section where people are going to actually buy. You need to do something that's going to nudge them to purchase, to click, which is going to be your calls to action on Pinterest and always linking back to your great content. So those are the things that you need to think about, taking people in the awareness stage, going to consideration, and getting them down to the bottom of the sales funnel. And what's keeping them from getting to the bottom? Are you not providing enough material? Are you not pinning consistently? Because you need to be consistent. You need to link back to your website or wherever it is that you want people to go. And you need to continually work on going through your marketing funnel. Anything to add there, Jeff, before I go on?
Well, I was just going to say, when you're talking about just kind of a general overview, that just the Pinterest users, you talked about before, that they're more likely to try new products and than non-users, and you talked about the middle part of the funnel, that like half of users on Pinterest have tried more than 6 new activities because something they saw on Pinterest. So I think that's important for marketers, that people are going there and shopping and wanting to try new things, and it's a kind of a whole different mindset of thinking about what you're used to on social media. They're really wanting to. This is something I'm discovering. I want to do this. So it's exciting.
You're going to find your new passion. It's a place to learn about new things. So one great way to make sure that you can get people through the bottom of the sales funnel is to cross-pollinate Pinterest across social media. I advocate this all the time. I think it's made a huge difference in my Pinterest presence and more people pinning my content. And I do things like adding pin of the day hashtags to my posts on Twitter, Pinterest. Well, I don't add it on Pinterest. Google+, Facebook. It's popular on Tumblr, all over the place. That tells people this is my favorite thing of the day. I love this. Check it out. That without having to say a whole bunch of things, if I just put my pin of the day, people know that to me this is very important. I share my Pinterest content all over the place with links to my Pinterest board. And the reason I do that is because I don't have the most followers of any social platform on Pinterest. I have the most followers on Google+. I used to have the most followers on Twitter, but when you cross-promote your things, you want to share it to where you have a lot of fans. So if you have the most followers on Google+, then of course you want to share your Pinterest content there. If Facebook is your biggest presence, you have your biggest presence there, you want to share with Facebook people. So the way that you build your social media presence is by sharing your other content around, and that goes for any content, not just Pinterest, because you definitely want to have, multiple channels. I'm not saying you have to be on every social platform, but if you're active and you want to build it, you definitely need to share across the other platforms. And then I also like to do the pin it for later, the now and later thing that I love to do, which is I add the Pinterest link and I say, I'll add the regular link to the blog post and I'll say, for more information, read here now with a link to the blog post, and then I will say, and pin it for later, and I'll put the link. That's a call to action, and what I'm saying is, if you like this, please pin it for later so you can remember to read it later. That is perfect for mobile viewers because no matter where you are, if you are on Google+, and I have the pin it for later link, you can pin that from your smartphone right to Pinterest. You don't have to remember, oh, Jeff shared a great thing that I saw at 9 o'clock this morning. Where was that? Was that on Twitter? Where did I see that? Like, who's going to remember that? Nobody. So help people remember and remind them that they could see this later if they want to by adding a pin it for later link, and it goes straight to your mobile phone, and people love that. I actually used to do that before I realized how mobile awesome it was, and my followers actually, if I forget to put pin it for later, people ask for it because they know they can just grab it for their phone. Do you want to add anything there, Jeff? Because I know you like to use these techniques too.
Yeah, I use the pin of the day. I try to do it every day, and that's I think really helped my audience grow. And the cool thing about pin of the day, because most of the time I'm always sharing somebody else's content. Very rarely will I share one of mine as the pin of the day. Is that when people click on that pin of the day or pin it for later, and it takes them to my Pinterest board highlighting that other person that I've repinned. It shows all my other pins there on the side, and so.
Right.
For me, sharing a link on Pinterest is so much better than almost any other platform because it shows that person's repin that I'm highlighting right there in the center, but it's got all my other stuff right there on the side, which they can click on too. And it really, I think, for me, increases people see what I'm excited about or some other stuff that I've pinned, or it just helps them discover me more. And so that's why I took your advice and started using the pin of the day and pin it for later, because to me it really it gives me even more exposure when I do it that way.
Exactly, and it's great to share other people's content. It makes you, being generous is always good in social media. So a few tips to build your email list with Pinterest, which is, really where as a marketer you want to always be building your email list, because this is where eventually if you have products to sell, you can sell them through email where you maybe can't necessarily through other methods. So when you build your email list, there's a lot of things that you could do. You can create an email campaign. I love when people share links to Pinterest in their email newsletters. An example that I love, that the people that work at Pinterest in their email signature have it says like recently pinning to this board. It shares their favorite board that they're pinning. It's really interesting to go click and see what people are interested in at the moment. So think about ways that you can incorporate your Pinterest presence with your traditional marketing with email lists. There's no reason that you can't tie those things together to do a great job with all of your social media. I think the key is tying all the pieces together, and then it creates such a level of consistency that people really see what you're about. So different things you can do besides, you can create an email campaign. You can create pins on Pinterest to ask people to join your email list because maybe they never clicked through to your blog yet, and to just put a little call to action on there, make it a great pin that looks like your blog, and say, click here to get great information every week, and people may love that. So email lists, for a while people were talking about how email was dead because social media was taking over. I never believed that, because the reality of it is people still get a lot of information from their email, and there's some people who like that best. So, and the email list you own, like your blog, you actually own your own blog content. Your email list is something that you can take with you and use however you want. So I don't want to go through all these, but have you experimented with your email list at all, Jeff?
I'm still doing some testing on that now. Our friend Elisa Meredith, when she was on the show, she talked about she uses for clients. She'll use multiple pins that point them back to that content, behind an email, sign up to get this free piece of content, and she'll create multiple pins that look different and run them throughout the month that point back to that campaign, and that way she can test which ones are working better. But one of her clients is getting I think pretty much all of their leads from Pinterest for their email list, and so that I thought was a great tip to try to do.
Yeah, it definitely is. So work how you can to incorporate your Pinterest with your email list. There's so many different ways that you can do it. You can sign up for your Pinterest link, pin it button in your email. There's so many ways to do it. So Pinterest for business is a little bit different than personal Pinterest. Ahology. How do you say that, Jeff? Ahology?
Right, Ahology, yeah.
Okay. Found that 83% of people on Pinterest would rather follow a brand than a celebrity on Pinterest, which is really surprising because I think the celebrity social media was the hot thing for a while. Everybody loved to follow, but now people have kind of realized, oh, the celebrities don't really share too much about their own, except their own personal stuff, which is interesting. But Pinterest for businesses are coming on and using it to, join in with the community. So Pinterest has special accounts for business, which you definitely want to sign up. If you're a business or a blog, Pinterest reminds you all the time that you should do it. If you haven't yet, you definitely should. The best thing about it is you get analytics. Rich pins are like magic on Pinterest. They have so much more information. It's really tying your blog in with your Pinterest content, which makes it more Pinterest searchable, but also more Google searchable. So there's no reason why you shouldn't combine the power of Pinterest and Google together, which is why I love Google Plus and Pinterest, because I feel like I have the two biggest web superpowers, like sharing my content. What more could you want, right, Jeff?
Right, exactly. And there is rich pins aren't automatically activated when you sign up for a Pinterest for Business account. You have to apply for them, but
Yeah.
it's super easy, and it's easy to walk through.
Yeah, it's a must. Like if you
Yeah.
want to make money on Pinterest, you definitely need to do rich pins. Whether you're a blogger, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of rich pins. The recipe rich pins are amazing. So just see which type of rich pin is best for you and get it going. It's also going to give you the ability to promote pins, which is new, and everybody doesn't have that yet. But that's where, as a business, I think people are really going to see that's where their paid media is going to change when Pinterest gets in there. So these are basic tips for Pinterest success. Oh, there's a typo. Bummer. I will fix that, people. So you want to just do the basics. You want to add the pin it button to your website. Create a Pinterest strategy using your analytics data. Go in there and see what your people like. What do they like that you pin, and give them more of that. If it's not on brand for what you're selling, maybe you need to adjust what you're sharing on Pinterest a bit to connect with what your end game is. You want to share your best content and share your fans' content too. Like Jeff said, create a pin of the day. Most of the content that I pin is not mine as well. I only write maybe one blog post a week, so I pin a lot more than once a week. I share a lot of other people's content, but I don't think of it as sharing other people's content because it's populating my own Pinterest board, so it's interesting. Be consistent and pin regularly. Jeff, how often, do you have like a number of times per day that you pin?
Well, one of the things I think that's getting me my success on Pinterest is to be consistent.
Uh-huh.
And I usually pin, and I don't have set times, but I do it. I touch Pinterest once in the morning and once in the evening every day, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what, pretty much no matter what. So I don't think I missed for a long time. But that consistency, I think they know that I'm a source of content, and they know they can come and see that my stuff's good. I check my links and all that stuff. And yeah, I think consistency is huge.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Plus, it's fun. And then the other thing for businesses is that you can join in with what's going on Pinterest. It's not so much like Google Plus where you can find a hashtag and follow that trend. But what happens on Pinterest is different days of the week people pin more things more frequently, and holiday trends are very popular on Pinterest. They're way earlier than, you don't want to start pinning your Christmas stuff 2 days before Christmas because people are already pinning like St. Patrick's Day stuff at that time.
Right.
Pinterest stuff is way early because people are actually making the things on Pinterest. Right now, it's the end of October. It's actually when you need to start thinking about making things. If you are making gifts for the holidays, you need to start now. So it's interesting. It's a lot earlier than you think.
A quick little power tip for that. During these times for the holidays, move those holiday boards to the front of your layout. You can drag and
Yeah.
drop those boards, and so if you have a Thanksgiving board, that should be up towards the top.
Hmm.
Depends on your industry, what you're trying to do, but that's really important because that's what shows up first on mobile. Again, mobile is super
Yep.
important.
Yep. Rearrange for the holidays. Good tip. I like to change my board covers every once in a while too. So some B2B Pinterest superstars that you can look at if you're looking for some ideas on how your business can be on Pinterest. I love HubSpot on Pinterest. I think they do fun stuff. As I mentioned, they share really, really great content. They are content marketers. They create great content to build leads for themselves, and they do everything that they teach you how to do, and they do it really well. So if you want to learn how to be a Pinterest superstar, I would say following HubSpot's a great tip. Etsy, I think, is really interesting. They are huge on Pinterest, but they are their own social platform. But Etsy is just so popular on Pinterest. They are how-tos. They are how to make things. Etsy and Pinterest have such a good natural fit together. Rich pins, if you want to see some great rich pins, Etsy sellers have really great content on their rich pins. And Jeff, do you want to talk about Constant Contact? Because we both like them.
Yeah, they're just, I mean, just they're just really good. They have a ton of great content, just like HubSpot, and
Mm-hmm.
they do a really good job touching, both sharing other people's stuff and also creating great content that relates to their company and their brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just, yeah, it's all those are ones to follow. And Etsy's great too because it's actually driving traffic to their platform for sales. So it's a good model
Yeah.
to use as well.
Yeah, definitely. One brand that I've been watching lately is American Express has this hashtag Everyday Moments, and they are sharing really great, like inspirational daily life stuff that I love, but it's American Express. I will repin that and share it. Is it
Hmm.
ultimately promoting American Express? Yes, but I like their content, so I will share it. And that's an example of how, it's not like you're going to share a commercial with people from TV, but it kind of is a commercial on Pinterest, but it's great content. That's what content marketing, that's the amazing thing about it. So we're at the how to achieve success with your Pinterest marketing. These things are Pinterest gold. These are the things that you can do all the time that are going to build your brand and ultimately bring you profits. Be consistent. We both talked about that a lot. Create beautiful pins to showcase your product. Provide helpful content that gives value. People want to be inspired and learn how to do things. You can be the person that helps them. Your brand can solve problems and help your customers learn. That's what people want. Cross promote to other social media networks and use gated materials to build your email list. So here is Jeff and my content. You can contact us. You could mention us on Twitter, Google Plus, anywhere. We're around. And if you want more information on how to do this, I will be speaking next month at a conference with Kim Garst. It's a really great lineup for people that are going to teach you how to use Facebook, Instagram, social media tools. Melanie DiDardo is a LinkedIn expert. There's a really amazing lineup of people. If you are interested, go to socialboomevent.com, and there's a discount code on there that you are free to use. And I will go back. I'm going to stop screen sharing so you can actually see me for a minute. Hey, everybody. And Jeff, do we have any questions? I know there's not a huge amount of people watching, but we may have some questions.
No, they're pretty much just. They said that it was a great show. Some of them were wondering if the slides will be available on SlideShare or something like that.
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
will have the slides on SlideShare. I wanted people to be able to have the information because one of my goals in life is to have more people love Pinterest and pin more things. So that's what I'm all about. So I really appreciate you coming on with me, Jeff, and I appreciate everybody that watched. This will be on YouTube for people to catch as a replay. I will put the SlideShare up. And if you have any Pinterest questions, Jeff and I are around and we love talking about it. So do you have anything you want to close with, Jeff?
Nope. Just thanks for watching. It was a great show. Thanks for having me on.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.